Okay, so let me share the slides, and on the next day, that is on Monday, we'll be studying about the various normal forms we have. Okay, this is one of the important chapters in RDBMS. We have like interview questions. You get interview questions, and also competitive exams. Also, they ask you from normalization. So when you say your favorite subject is normalization, sorry, RDBMS, people interview are going to ask you what is normalization and what are its types. So today we'll just see a basic of normalization. Okay, let me share the slide. So we'll have a just brief overview of normalization and denormalization of relations. That is normalization and denormalization of tables. So we should first know what is normalization. Then we'll discuss about denormalization. So it is like in normalization, what we do, we reduce a complex data structure or a complex table into a simple table. Okay. So this is right. It's a definition is given as normalization is a scientific method of breaking down complex table structure into simple table structures by using certain rules. So we will be having certain rules. Then we can reduce the complex table into the simple table. So it was given by again E.F. Coad only. So it's for full form. Dr. E.F. Coad full form is Edgar F. Coad in 1972. First proposed the process of normalization and what came to be known as the first normal form. So he first gave one of the forms. Okay, he would introduce the process of normalization that later came to be known as the first normal form. There are actually till fifth normal form are there. So this first normal form was given by this Edgar F. Coad. So in his paper, a relational model for data for large shared data bank. So I think for now, like you are aware that this Dr. E.F. Coad, he has introduced the concept of relational database, whether it's ER diagram. So it's one of the more concepts he had introduced, that is normalization. So you can call him the father of DBMS, right? Then the normalization process, just I mentioned as first proposed by Coad in 1972, that takes the relation schema through a series of tests to certify whether it satisfies a certain normal form or not. So I told you there are various normal forms. So they go for a series of tests to clarify, to understand a certain normal form. So whether it will be in one first normal form, second normal form. Okay? So the process which proceeds in a top-down fashion by evaluating each relation against the criteria for normal forms and decomposing relation as necessary. So initially Coad proposed three normal forms. So here you can see first normal form, which is also known as 1NF, second normal form 2NF, and third normal form 3NF. So later what happened, this 3NF, like this Boyce, like the person named Boyce, he modified the third normal form, and which is later known as the Boyce and Coad form also, normal form also. So you 3NF, you can say also called as the this one Boyce and Coad normal form, because the person Boyce had modified the third normal form given by E.F. Coad. Later, a fourth normal form and a fifth normal form were proposed based on the concepts of multi-value dependencies and joint dependencies respectively. So about we'll discuss about this multi-valued and joint dependencies in the later classes. Okay, once we study these normal forms one by one. So here, what is the purpose of normalization? So this is a normalization of data can be looked upon as a process of analyzing the given relation schemas based on their foreign keys and primary keys to achieve the desirable properties of minimizing the redundancy and minimizing the insertion, deletion, and update anomalies. So what do you mean by this? When we have this normalization, we will have this foreign keys and primary keys relation, right? So we have to achieve this. We have to, in normalization, we have to achieve we have to minimize the redundancy. We'll discuss what is this minimizing redundancy and also minimizing the insertion, deletion and update anomalies. So this is an example of the minimizing redundancy. So here you can see a table employee department where you have employee name, SSN as the primary key, then birth date is there, then address, department number, department name and department manager SSN. But here you can see in the table redundancy is there. Redundancy means duplicate values. So you can see here in the department name research, this department name research and this one is repeated. See for 5 research 3 3 4 4 5 5 5 again research, same thing. Administration research administration headquarters. So in what it is doing is, right, it is like unnecessary increasing the space of the table. So what we can do in the normal form is that we can break the table. We can have a separate employee table and we can have a separate department table. Okay, how can we minimize this table is that in this way. See, we are having a employee table, and a department table. Okay, so in employee table, we are having till this one, till department number. Okay, you see e-name, SSN, birth date, address, number, and department we have department name, department number and manager SSN. So in this case what it happens is, we know there is a foreign key primary key relationship is there. So here department number is the primary key which is the foreign key in the employee table. So here instead of like writing these things like department name two times, three times, or which whenever it appears here, we can reduce that, right? We can minimize the redundancy by introducing a separate table. So instead of having multiple values here, what we did, we created a single department table and we are only writing these things one time. Any confusion till this part? Employee and department, we have broken this employee department into two tables, employee table and department table. So what happens is, because this time we are writing two times, right, because same thing is repeated. This research manager SSN number is same, research administration. Why to write it so many times? Only if this is present, only if the department number is present, we can refer to the separate table. We can join these two tables because we are already familiar with joins right now, right? So we can use this department number to refer to this table. So here instead of writing it like introducing the redundancy, writing it so much, we are writing it only 3 times, one time. So any confusion in this part, this department table and employee table? Others? I got only one answer.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Everyone understood? I think Safir, Avinash, clear. Others? Why do we introduce a join operations? We introduce a join operation so that we don't have to, okay, we don't have to what? We don't have to increase the size of the table, right? So that we can use the same table twice. Like we can, this two table, if we join, we get the same result only. Instead of, just wait. Instead of writing such a big table, what we can do, we can join these two tables. This table is quite small, so it will reduce the space also. But here we have one more table, that is the why we have used this department number and D location together as a primary key, because from yesterday we have discussed about the ER data model. So I hope you can get, it's a weak entity, right? So weak entity does not have a primary key of its own, so it does not have a unique key. So what it does is, it takes the department number was the primary key in the department table and this together forms the department location. So you can see, you can tell me, ma'am, here if department number is a primary key, if it was a primary key, then it would not have been repeated. but you see 5 have been repeated because this together forms this department number, and D location together forms the department location table. So 1 is Houston, 4 is Stafford, 5 is Belair, then 5 is Sugarland, and 5 is Houston. So these things are different, right? They together form the primary key. This is the weak entity. Now you see, how will you minimize the redundancy? I have already said the mention in the diagram. I have explained these things here, so you can go by just by going through it, by reading it. You can go through you understand the concept. So just let me read it once. So one goal of schema design is to minimize the storage used by the base relation. Okay. So here you can see here how like it does such a big tables, two tables informations are there, so it will increase the storage, right? So we will introduce this minimize redundancy so that we can like reduce the storage. So in department, so you can see in department, employee department, the attribute values pertaining to a particular department, D number, D name, D manager, SSN, are repeated for every employee who works for that department. Yes, we have seen, right? 5 is there, so it was totally unnecessary. So in contrast, each department information appears only once in the department relation. So in apart from this, where it was coming repeatedly, so here what happens, it is coming only single time. So that means we are reducing the storage. So thus in employee department relation, there is need to minimize the redundancy to minimize the storage space used. Okay? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Tutumani, is it clear? You said it's yes, ma'am. No, whether it's clear or not. Please, when I share the slide, please go through the slide. If you have any confusion, do ask me. Okay, I'll share the slide today. Next, we have the insertion, updation, and deletion anomalies. Okay, we have to minimize that. So what do you mean by the insertion anomalies? So just check. So insertion anomalies can be differentiated into two types. So in this table only, employee department table. So to insert a new employee tuple into the employee department, we must include either the attribute values for the department that the employee works for, or null if the employee does not work in any of the department. So if you want to insert, so if you want to insert like in these tables or like in this table, what you have to do, if you want to insert any row here, so you have to provide the details of the department number in which he works on, like the department information, also the department name, department number, manager's assistant, in which he works on. Otherwise, if he doesn't work on any department, you have to mention it null, right? Like here is an example is there. To insert a new tuple for an employee who works in department number 5, we must first enter the attribute values of department 5 correctly so that they are consistent with the values for department 5 in other tuples in employee department. Okay, we must like whatever the 5 department is there. I think it was a research department. Yes, and department. So we have to like first enter the information, the values in this department properly. That should be consistent. Then only we can enter the employee information in the employee table. Otherwise, it will be wrong. Similarly, it will be in the other case is that it is difficult to insert new department that has no employees at yet. So if only suppose a department is there, but no employees is working in that department. Suppose let us take the example here. Suppose you have introduced a new department is here. Like you have introduced a new department, suppose for IT department, but no employee works in those departments. Then happens is they will contain the only way to So the only way to do is to give null values in the employee table because none of the person like works in those 4 department, right? So this causes the problem because SSN is the primary key of employee department. Okay, so why this is problem, null value problem is there because in the employee department you have seen that SSN is the primary key. How do you know that's the primary key? Just check. So it is very important that when you introduce a new in this case you are talking about, right? In this case, when you introduce a new employee, so new department, you should make sure there is an employee working in that department. Otherwise, what you need to do is you have to give null values for all these things. Null values for e-name, null values for SSN, null values for birth date, address, because we want to enter. So in this case, we have to give the because we have introduced a new department, but no employees is working on it. So we have to give not applicable or null values. That is NA we have to write, right? So this was the one of the problem with the insertion anomalies. Next is deletion and anomalies. So what is the problem? Okay, insertion, any problem? Before going to deletion, any problem with insertion? Problem with insertion?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Just saying no, ma'am, or really understanding that thing. You're concentrating, right?
Yes, ma'am. Really understand.
Okay.
You're concentrating,
That's the problem
Yes,
with
ma'am.
the online classes. Okay. Next is the deletion anomalies. So here the problem of deletion anomalies is related to the second insertion anomaly situated discussed earlier. So we have discussed just like we have in the employee department table, if we have introduced like new department, but we do not have any employee working in that department, we'll be having null in those values, right? Null in those values, so because no employees are working in that department. So if we delete from the employee department an employee tuple that happens to represent the last employee working for that particular department, the information concerning that department is lost from the database. Now let us go back, make you understand. Suppose here this is Bong James E. Okay, so if we want to delete this department number, so if you want to delete this employee, okay, Bong James E. So if we delete this employee, what do you think? Since he is the only person who is working in the department headquarters, okay, so if we delete this information, so what happens? The department information is deleted. We cannot keep track of the department. Then department 1 is lost. This is known as the deletion anomalies. Any confusion? See, since he is the only person working in department 1 headquarter, if we delete this tuple, if we delete the last tuple, so what happens? All the information regarding this department 1 gets also deleted. So this will not be present here. But if we have such kind of table, we have two tables, employee and department. So what happens? If we remove this tuple, it's completely fine because it will not affect the department table. The information of the department will still be present in the department table. But for this one, if we delete if we delete this tuple, that is the last tuple, what happens? The department information also is getting lost. This is known as the deletion anomaly. Now tell me when any confusion is there in deletion.
No, ma'am. It's clear.
No. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the last one is the modification anomaly. So modification means in employee department, if we change the value of one of the attributes of a particular department, say the manager of department 5, we must update the tuples of all the employees who work in that department. Otherwise, the database will become inconsistent. So, for example, in department number 5, we have seen there are lots of people working in the department number 5 or 4, right? Suppose in department number 5, we are seeing it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people are working. So if we change any information in this, suppose we change here this department, we change the name of this department name to some other name. So we should make sure that it is updated in all other department names, and the phone numbers too are also updated. Otherwise, if you don't update in all the tuples, so what happens is the table with your table will become inconsistent. Okay, somewhere it will show that 5 is research, somewhere it will show 5 is department, somewhere it will show 5 is maybe eye nurture or something. So everything will become inconsistent. So your table won't be consistent. So we should make sure if we are changing the research department, we are changing here. So in everywhere it should be reflected. Okay, so that our table is consistent. Otherwise, it may become inconsistent. By inconsistent, I mean suppose for 5, here it is research. We are updating the value this 5. 5 it is showing IT. Again 5 it may be something other department, maybe management department, and 5 it is again research department. So in this case 5 is referring to different values. So we can say it becomes, the table becomes inconsistent. Do you agree? Yes. Only Avinash is clear. What about others? Just tell me. Should I repeat
Again.
Okay. See.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
See. Okay. I'm saying it again. See, what happens is if you see here, like department number is appearing 4 times, right? So in this table, if you change any one value, suppose you change this D name to management department. Okay, you change this department to management department, and you don't update these values. You don't update these other research values. So what happens? That your table will be inconsistent, because first for 5 it is showing management, for other 5 it is showing research only. So 5 is referring to different things, right? Different departments. So your table is inconsistent in this case. So for this case, if you are changing, if you are modifying one value, please make sure that you are modifying the other values too. Okay, but if you store it in this way, if you modify only one thing only, if you modify one value like update dname set dname equal to update dname set dname equal to management, where d number equal to 5, in that case only one updation will work, but here it won't work. Okay, you have to make sure that one, because only one updation, you have to make changes in the entire one, otherwise the table will become inconsistent. Now is it clear? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So whatever I mentioned is written here only. So next, moving to the next topic, that is denormalization. So denormalization is not there in your syllabus, just information, extra information. When you are learning normalization, you should know about the denormalization too. So normalization means minimizing the redundancy and minimizing the insertion, deletion and update anomalies. Similarly, this normalization means breaking the complex table structures into a simple structure. What is the opposite of this denormalization? The normalization is a denormalization. That is, we will introduce here some anomalies, we will introduce redundancy uh, to the table. That is denormalization. Why do we go for denormalizing the table? To improve the performance of the table, to improve the performance of the database. So let's check. So denormalization is the design process of taking normalized data and producing a physical design in which normalized data is rearranged so that optimal access and manipulation of data can be achieved, so that we get the best performance, optimal performance of the data. The intentional introduction of redundancy in a table in order to improve the performance is called denormalization. So in normalization, we have seen we were reducing the redundancy. I hope by now you know what is redundancy, what are the duplicate values I was talking about, right? So in here, over here in denormalization, what we do, we have to reduce, sorry, we have to increase the redundancy. We will take a normalized table and we will introduce redundancy, that is duplicate values. That what will it help? It will help in increasing the efficiency. Okay, so just now we just see for an example. Suppose we have a course table. Okay, courses table, we have this course number as the primary key, title, course name, and the instructor name. So it may be necessary for like sometime to introduce the, because sometime to introduce the phone number in the course table also, so that the instructor is whose phone number is the instructor phone number, whose you should communicate, like your mentor's number should be that suppose you people are from BSCIT CTIS, so CTIS mentor's number is provided, so that if you have any confusion you can call to the mentor properly. But remember that phone number of the mentor, he's like he or she is your faculty too, so that phone number is coming from which table? It's coming from like employee table. Phone number is generally stored in the employee table, but we are adding it here to add the performance, to increase the performance. Okay, so you can see for performance reasons it may be necessary to later like undo the effects of normalization. So see, if the phone number was stored in employee table, it would have been very difficult, right? For every time to map the table, we have to go for joins and everything. You are now aware of joins, right? So if we have the phone number in the course table only, so you can directly communicate with the faculty. So this is how it will, like, to avoid frequent and joins are expensive. Okay, and like if you go for joining two tables, so these are expensive. So we have, if the phone number is already present in the table, we are denormalizing it. So what happens is it will reduce the cost too. So few advantages of denormalization. So there are advantages, that is why we are going for denormalization. It will minimize the need for joins. So as we are aware, for joins we need foreign key and primary key relation. So how do we why do we require the foreign key and like foreign key and primary key relation? Because we know that one column needs to be common for joins, right? In two tables or three tables, at least one of the column should be common, so that it will if we have, if we go for denormalization, it will, we don't have to go for joins. So in the earlier case when we are studying normalization, we have minimized based on the department number only, right? This was the foreign key and this was the primary key here. But if we are storing the phone number like we have in the previous example, the phone number is stored here. So what happened? We are reducing the join. No need to go for any join. Then reducing the number of foreign keys on tables. So if we don't have any join, so we will not have the foreign keys also. And reducing the number of tables. Ultimately, when we introduce normalization, what the number of tables increases. So you can see in the previous cases, the employee department table was broken down into three separate tables. Okay, but in denormalization we can have a single table. Okay, now disadvantages of denormalization. So denormalization, like, it usually speeds retrieval but slow data modification. It's usually speedy, but the retrieval of data is sorry, if you go for data modification, it will be slow. Obviously it will speed recovery. So if you want to retrieve anything from the database, it is from a single table, so obviously the retrieval will be faster, because you are retrieving from a single table. But when you like going for any modification of that table, it will be slow. Okay, like it is always application specific and needs to be reevaluated if the application changes. So we obviously it is if we have to make the changes, right? Or if it is application specific, but in joins what we can do, we can just change the particular table. It can increase the size of the table. Yes, the size is increased, right? In some instances, it simplifies coding. In others, it makes coding more complex. So in some cases, it's totally dependent, right? In sometimes the coding is like becomes easier, and sometimes what happens, the coding becomes complex. Like in the earlier case we have seen for the employee table, right? Though like retrieval will be easy since it's present in the single table, the data retrieval will be easy. But other things, right, it will, you need more complex structure because everything you are storing in the same table. Now let's see the difference between normalization and denormalization. So normalization and denormalization are two processes that are completely opposite. Do you agree? Normalization is like making the complex structure into simple structure, right? Converting. And the denormalization is converting back to complex data structure, complex structures. Okay. Next, normalization is a process of dividing larger tables into smaller ones, in reducing the redundant data, while denormalization is a process of adding redundant data to optimize the performance. Right? We have seen normalization today only. So we have seen that we break down the complex tables into like simple tables by reducing the redundancies, whatever the redundancy we have, whether it is insertion anomalies, and we try to reduce, and we have the normalization process. And denormalization, right, we start adding some redundant data to optimize the performance, right? Normalization is carried out to prevent database anomalies. So we have seen the three types of database anomalies. So that is insertion, update, and deletion anomalies. And denormalization is carried out to improve the reading performance of the database, read performance. So just now we have seen the course table. So in instructor, we are instructor phone number, we are adding in the course table only, right? So it will obviously increase the readability. So it is often recommended that you should normalize until it hurts, denormalize until it works. Okay. So this was all about normalization and denormalization. So any conclusion? Too much for
No, ma'am.
today?
It's clear.
Too much for today? Yes, Prashant, you are saying something?
No, ma'am. It's clear.
Clear? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Kashyap, clear?
Kashyap, clear?
Avinash, clear? Okay. So in the next class, we'll be start studying the norm. This is normalization, just a basic introduction. Okay, we'll be going into the depth. That is the first normal form, second normal form, all these things. I think on Monday we'll start on that things. Okay, let me take the attendance. I'll share the slide. Please go through it. Okay, let's just let me take the attendance. Okay, thank you everyone. You all can leave now. And if you have any confusion, do ask me in the next class.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.